This is gonna take Cracker Jack timing, Wang.
Total concentration. You ready, Jack?
I was born ready.
Welcome back to Thinking Critical. This is Wes, and finally the weather is settled. The typhoon is through, and I can get back to making some videos and uploading stuff. Now there was not a real big deal, but there was an announcement that the next Captain America that's going to be introduced in the United States of Captain America, a miniseries from Christopher Cantwell, is going to be Nichelle. What's her name? Nichelle Wright. And she's the Captain America of Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. A little bit less interesting than the Captain America of the Railways, just as far as the name goes. And here to talk with me about that is the comic book hoarder himself, the man so cool they call him the Breen. Eric Breen, how you doing?
I'm doing well.
Well, I'm glad that you are doing well, and I'm glad we finally get to talk about some comics here again. Now, this isn't the most interesting story in the history of the world. We are getting this 5-part miniseries. I guess it's to celebrate the 80th anniversary of Captain America. And we knew they were going to introduce some characters inspired by Captain America. I didn't realize all the characters were going to be Captain America. I find that a little odd.
I wasn't aware of that either. I thought they were just, people that were inspired by him to try to emulate him, try to, do what they do basically in his image, but I didn't know they were going to officially become Captain Americas.
It's a little bit strange. Now we see the character design for Nichelle Wright, and I don't know if this design, it's got one pant leg and one not pant leg. Is it designed after Mr. Woo Woo Woo? Gosh dang it, who was that guy from Long Island Ice Z? Zack Ryder.
Zack Ryder.
Is it Zack Ryder, or could it be Ruby Riott? I'm not certain. But it's not the coolest looking character design, I'll give you that.
Well, it's been done before. Looker from The Outsiders had that kind of costume.
It's kind of generic or whatever, but this is kind of all leads into the watering down of superheroes. And a lot of times, like in Daredevil, we'll see characters are inspired by Daredevil. Whenever he's like on the shelf, they'll start cosplaying as him, and it always turns out to disastrous results. And I think the lesson learned is you're not supposed to go out there and emulate these superheroes. They're specially trained. They have powers. But we're getting, 5 new Captain Americas. Doesn't it water down the legacy and what makes Captain America special and why we should be looking up to him?
Yeah, I think if it's a neat idea for the anniversary. You show 5 people inspired by Captain America, and I know what they're going for. It's to give, it's to kind of let people know that anyone can aspire to be, Captain America, because he's the most aspirational hero at Marvel. But when they actually become Captain America, that's when it lapses into, like you said, the watering down, the diluting of the brand. Because it's one thing to aspire to be like Captain America, but it's another thing to become Captain America. That should be something that is extremely difficult to do, and short of a super soldier serum, take a lifetime of training just to get to the point to where you can be told, no, you're never going to be Captain America, but you can aspire to be like him. So again, this is kind of the premise of this idea. I don't mind at all. I mean, it's a neat little idea, but if these 5 characters, now this is assuming they're ever going to be used again, and given Marvel's recent track record, that's probably not going to happen. But I don't know that I don't like the idea of coming out as saying, well, we have 5 brand new Captain Americas, because it seems like every hero at Marvel has a larger family than the Duggars. And at some point it's just, why bother to care about the original when there's just copy after copy after copy?
Well, and you go back to like Mark Grunwald's Captain America, series when he introduces John Walker, which they're doing that storyline in that Falcon Winter Soldier show on Disney Plus. John Walker, by all means, he seems a candidate to be a Captain America. He possesses a lot of the traits or whatever. But I think the purpose of the story is to frame that Steve Rogers is special. Like, he's unique, and he's one of the few people that is worthy of carrying that mantle, and he is what has made it special. But just handing it out like a sandwich, like, here, you get a Captain America name, you get a Captain America name. It kind of undoes all the work that's been done in the past that makes Steve Rogers so special within the Marvel Comics universe. And I'm underwhelmed, and I'm just confused. It would have been so much better if these characters were inspired by Captain America to go out and have their own missions, and maybe they're not saving the universe or maybe even saving America, but doing things within their own community under their own mantles. But to go out there and try and borrow that one, it I don't know. It not only dilutes Captain America, but if you're going to be Captain America, shouldn't you be going out and like leading armies and or leading the Avengers?
Yeah. A quick aside: the original John Walker storyline came about because Grunwald did a story where someone in the government found a long unused edict that said that the government has control over Captain America and actually has ownership of the name and the shield. And Steve Rogers would not agree to that, so he resigned and turned over the shield and the uniform. That's why they got John Walker to take his place. But he had trained for a lifetime. He'd been augmented from, I believe, from the time when he was in Unlimited Class Wrestling or something like that. So he was qualified to, if not be Captain America, be a replacement until the story, corrected. It came to its inevitable conclusion, and Steve Rogers got the shield back, which he did. Now, as far as the 5 characters from this, what they're doing now, if comics were done today the way they were done 30 years ago, they did something like this later in the Captain America series. You would take these 5 people, kind of make them an unofficial Cap squad, call them something like the Spirit of America, and they're representatives of him. And they could go out and do things in his name to fight for what's right. And that would be something that I think you could do well and really be interesting. But I think this is just kind of like to say, hey, anybody can be Captain America, when the truth is, no, not really. I mean, you can make a case for Sam Wilson or James Barnes and maybe even John Walker, but it's not something that anybody that just grew up and said, hey, I want to be Cap. But I'm not surprised, because isn't that how we got the real Hawkeye 5 or 6 years ago?
Well, it's kind of strange. You think about Steve Rogers. Do I think like he would be happy there were people out there donning like his colors, saying that they're Captain America and going out and trying to fight crime and potentially getting themselves hurt or killed, without proper training? Just because you want to be a superhero, you kind of have to prove yourself. Not that these characters can't do it. It just seems strange that he would be so excited by people, just regular people going out there and putting themselves in harm's way.
Right. It's, again, like I said, if this were comics done when comics mattered, he would see what they were doing, put a stop to it, and said, look, I probably can't stop you from doing this, but what I'd like to do is train you so that you're better equipped to go out and do this, and don't just do it for me, so do it for yourselves. But we can put you under, like I said, a banner, like I said, like Spirit of America or something like that. But again, this things are, here's a news flash: things are not always well thought out at modern Marvel. So I'm guessing
modern comics, anyways. You think about like the Green Lantern Corps. There was a time when being a human Green Lantern was special. Like, you weren't supposed to be a Green Lantern. You're thought to be, humans are uncivilized. They're not ready for this. No human could ever be a Green Lantern. And now, every Lantern is a Green Lantern, or every human is a Green Lantern, it seems like, anymore. The Flash. I mean, how many Flash characters can we have? How many Spider-Man characters? You know how crazy it is that, a boy was bitten by a radioactive spider and so all of a sudden had spider powers? For it to happen to 5 characters is insane.
Yeah.
It just, there is a level of, disbelief that you have to drop to be into comic books. So after a while, it's like, why is every character just watered down and everything that makes them special? Eventually, it's like, okay, he's just another Captain America.
Yeah, well,
He's just another Spider-Man. He's just another Batman. He's just another Flash.
yeah, the cynical answer is that for the royalties, if one of these characters takes off, so that's the incentive for the creators to do it. But what it does, again, it dilutes the brand, and it kind of is a natural turnoff to most readers, and you need those readers to buy in the numbers to get those royalties. So it's kind of a catch-22 or a circular firing squad, however you want to look at it. So, I think at some point you're better off, you're just trying to make the characters that people know and love better to the point to where people come back to them, because history proves the more you dilute this. I mean, there are rare exceptions. Like, Miles Morales sold for a while, and his video games and movies do great, but the comic doesn't sell. So, I would concentrate on just, taking the core character, making them the best they can be, instead of trying to, get us interested in second, third, fourth, fifth generation, knockoffs.
Well, it's crazy when you think about like Miles Morales. He was a big deal when he was the Spider-Man of his universe, the Ultimate Universe. But as soon as he's brought into the 616, he's not special anymore. He's second best to another character.
Yeah, and he's another, teen hero to put in the champions.
And I like legacy characters. I like Jessica Cruz. I think there's too many Human Lanterns, but there can be 2 or 3. I really like Jason Todd. I really like Dick Grayson. Obviously, they never became really Batman except for a couple storylines. They got their own mantles eventually, but just there's so many just reproductions of the characters, and at this point, I don't know. It's very frustrating. Like,
yeah, that their characters. You create new characters. Like I said, like I said, the cynical answer I've already given. The comic book answer is, as the industry continues to strive to find a new audience to replace the one they already have, and leaving out all of the political elements to this, they're trying to groom young people to get interested in comics, but they have this belief now that the young readers can't identify with the older characters, so they have to give them their own Spider-Man or their own Captain America or their own Green Lantern or their own Superman, on and on and on. And I think you find that, like I said, the original characters, especially for most of the ones that it's named, are so ingrained in pop culture that kids will identify with them. I mean, they are kept perpetually youthful.
Kind of ridiculous, because the largest, most profitable franchise in movie history right now is all based on those characters. Those are the Marvel characters kids know. They know Steve Rogers is Captain America. They know Bruce Banner is the Hulk. They know, Thor Odinson is Thor, although I think he's just Thor. They know they know Tony Stark is Iron Man. I think the biggest inhibitor for new readers into comic books is the price and the quality. And a lot of these readers, if you go in there looking for, a Hulk story, are you going to get Bruce Banner, or are you going to get Amadeus Cho? If you're in there looking for an Iron Man story at one point, you're going to find Riri Williams. There's character confusion on Marvel Comics part. I don't think it's actually this new generation. I just think they're not writing really good comics right now.
Yeah, it's like I said, though, if you're trying, this idea that newer readers need their own versions of characters to identify with, if that were true, why do they go out in record numbers to see the original characters in the movies? Because I said, what I said, I don't agree with. I'm just saying that's what they tend to have been doing for the past 20 or so years, and it doesn't work. Like I said, it's I think that kid would much rather read a Bruce Banner Hulk than a Gogurt Hulk, or Tony Stark other than, rather than, Riri Williams or whatever. Because I said, if you're going to take a character like Riri Williams, give her own identity and let the fans decide whether or not they want to accept or reject that character. I'm just using her as an example. I said, Kamala Khan was tremendously successful when she was introduced, and they haven't been able to maintain that success because they'll use her in 4 different books and she'll have 4 entirely different personalities. So it's like they can't even keep their own versions of their copies straight, let alone, and then they do a disservice to the originals. So it's
like with this Nichelle Wright character, like when we met the Captain America of the Railways, Aaron Fischer, he's fighting for homeless people. At least there was a mission. This is what they say about this version of Captain America. The thing I can say about Nichelle, this is from the writer, is that she is working day and night to bring change into a world where she feels defeated. Nichelle is a light in a dark time and wants to take ownership of her community and space in America. That doesn't say anything. What's her mission?
I don't know.
Exactly. I don't think these things are all that well thought out. I think they're just putting stuff out there.
No, you're absolutely right. It's come up with an idea, just come up with surface traits, put it out there to get your plaudits from the places you want to get them from, and then worry about if you're going to give this character any depth. But like I said, this will probably be the only time we ever see these characters, and I guess maybe they figure they don't need to have anything more than surface traits. I don't think we're going to get an announcement that says these 5 characters are going to get their own mini series, or although, like I said, if you were doing it back the way you did in the old days, if Cap puts them together and gives them a mini series and it was written by somebody that actually want to tell a comic book story, I think you could have something interesting there. But we're never going to get that.
Nah, it's just to put it out there, I guess. I don't know. I'm just confused. It is frustrating. It does feel like everything's being watered down. If things weren't watered down enough 10 years ago, at this point, nothing special. Every character is completely replaceable with some other person you've never even heard of.
Yeah, and they keep spreading them out thinner and thinner, but then the books that stick, they're all the same core characters anyway, who I'll leave it to you guys to decide whether or not they're being done well either at this point. But yeah, it just, again, like I said, it's an of the moment thing for Cap's anniversary. It'll be put out there. It'll be fawned over by some people. It'll be ignored by readers, and they'll move on.
If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. I would appreciate it very much. It helps us attract more views for the channel. Subscribe for future commentary, comic book news, and reviews. And don't forget to ring the bell for notifications. If you want to talk comics, movies, and much, much more, you can follow me on Twitter at Wes_from_TC. With that, Salamat Po, and I'm out.